consider 40 hours to be average?
It's extreme. It becomes therapeutic. I don't see the need to apologize to anybody. That seems odd. It would certainly give the impression that that person feels bad for them or has a relationship outside of that independent evaluator.
Do you ever provide gifts to the person that you are evaluating?
No, that's inappropriate.
So those were some of the moments from the Jodi Arias trial this week. The prosecution started its rebuttal in this case. They put their witness on the stand. The team used a psychologist to tear apart the defense's claim that Jodi Arias has PTSD, that she had amnesia. Criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson watching this closely for us. Okay, Joey, the prosecution says that the defense's experts were biased, that they were flat out wrong. What do you think?
Well, you know what? This witness was very effective, Dr. DeMarte, on two accounts. Number one, she did speak to the issue of bias, and number two, she addressed the issue of competence. And so I think her testimony not only neutralized and discredited the defense experts, but, Natasha, she was able to give specific criteria talking about borderline personality disorder and take specific facts of this case and match them to every criteria. Instability. She talked about Jodi Arias' instability. She talked about her intense anger. She talked about other relationships. And what she did was she matched the facts to the criteria that established borderline personality disorder. So I think she was very effective for the prosecution.
Yeah, and at times it got pretty heated on this stand. A little fireworks in that courtroom. What would you have asked if you were Martinez?
Well, I think, Martinez was just throwing, of course, the softballs because this is his witness and he wants to get out through her exactly what he got out, Natasha, and that is that, listen, there was no post-traumatic stress disorder here at all. This was more consistent with borderline personality disorder. He got that all out. He also got out the point that, listen, do you give gifts to anybody that you see? Is there a distinction between therapy on the one hand and an objective evaluation on the other? And I think that was effective also, Natasha. Why? Because if you spend 40 hours with anyone, there's going to be some bond you develop. And I also think that this witness not only addressed that issue, right, of sympathy and compassion and how that might play into an evaluation, but I think in terms of tone and affect, she seemed to be fairly objective. She didn't seem to be buying into one side or the other. She stated the hours that she worked with her, 14 hours, the things that she did, and the conclusions that she arrived at.
Yeah, and what counts is what the jury's thinking. Are they buying it? And then there's these accusations being flown around that Jodi Arias stole a ring. What was that all about?
It was interesting because that's the first time that we ever heard or, anything like that. That was out of the equation. But what she's talking about is the nature of the relationships and how she, of course, was drawn to Travis Alexander, how she would go to his home unannounced, how she was hiding behind a Christmas tree, how she stole the ring from him, and this all spoke to the feelings of abandonment that she had and why it was that she was just so drawn to him and why and how that affected her conclusion, Natasha, which was borderline personality disorder.
Yeah, and Joey, quickly, maybe in 30 seconds, what would you say? What does each side have to do, and how much longer is this thing going to go?
Well, the answer is, as to how much longer, it's anybody's guess. I mean, who knows how much longer this thing could go, Natasha? I thought it'd be over by now, but what are we, day 52, 53, we're going along. But I think the prosecution in its rebuttal case has to do a couple of things. You could expect to hear from people from prepaid legal. They're going to talk about, there's no dirty little secret here. This was in a relationship that was known to exist. They were affectionate in public. It's not about dirty little secrets, Juan Martinez will establish. And we'll also see someone from Walmart, and they'll talk about the issue of the gas cans and the policy. And you know what? If she returned that gas can, there would be a record of it. Guess what? There's not. Far from over.
Sounds like another explosive week in court. Joey Jackson, as always, thank you.
Pleasure and a privilege, Natasha.